Hey everyone, Bit here. Today we're going to be taking a look at this. This is the Circuit Playground Express from Adafruit. Now, you've probably heard of the Adafruit name before. They're a supplier of electronics, mostly designed for hobbyists and people who just want to get started with electronics projects and microcontrollers. And this is their getting started product. The Circuit Playground is designed for people who want to get started with microcontrollers. And this specifically is the base kit, which includes the Express board. Now, I separately purchased this plastic case for it. You see this plastic case I have on mine? It's probably a good idea to get that so you don't have a circuit board lying around. Then you have this thing, which is a battery, has the little connector on the end, and also a micro USB cable for programming it. So if I plug this in to my laptop, you can see on the TV there. So it starts off with this. That's because in bootloader mode, when you plug it in, it does that. You just have to press the reset button. Right now I have on here a program that if you turn this switch to the right, the rainbow pattern appears. If you hold down the left button, it also appears. And if you hold down the right button, you get white lights. Most of my projects are on my MacBook since I've been doing a lot of stuff with that, but there's also some on this one. No, I installed a Chrome extension on the other computer. So, this is the simpler version. So what I'm going to do is put the board in bootloader mode and drag the current UF2 file into MakeCode to import whatever is currently installed on the board, and then just close the File Explorer and press that button again to exit the bootloader mode. Because it probably should have gone to the other computer and imported the newer version of the alarm project. Because not every new project is on the Windows computer. So I'll show you what I have here just as examples for it. So the first one is this thing, which is a controller that I made for my Samsung M5 monitor, the monitor that's in the office in the other room where the MacBook is. So one of my pet peeves with that monitor is, see this? This is a Samsung TV that I'm using. See that button up there? It says source. Guess which button the M5's remote doesn't have? It doesn't have a source button. It makes it really hard to switch the display inputs because you have to go to the home menu, do weird stuff. With this, so with this script load on the board, so it says on button A clicked, if the switch is to the right, it presses the left arrow, else it presses volume down. It's volume down. So it's sending keyboard commands to the monitor. On button B, which is the right button, A is left and B is right, on the B button, click, if the switch is slid right, it presses the right arrow. If it's else, it presses volume up. But if you press both buttons at the same time, if the switch is right, then it will press F6 on the keyboard. Then it will send a F6 keyboard press to the monitor, or whatever device is plugged into, but this would be, its use case is being plugged into my monitor, where it will press the F6 key on the keyboard. And then, so pressing F6 brings up the sources. So then, because the switch is still slid to the right, you use the left and right buttons to select a source. And you have 5 seconds to select a source. So it says for index from 0 to 5, graph 0 to 5, so it shows you how much time you have left. Pause 1 second. Pause 1000 milliseconds, or 1 second. So basically it's a timer for 5 seconds, and it shows you how long you have left by like filling a graph on the ring of LEDs, because there's 10 LEDs around it, 10 neopixel LEDs. Then after that timer, clear. So it turns all of the LEDs off. Then gamepad button B down 100 milliseconds, pause 100 milliseconds, then gamepad button B up. So basically it pushes down on a game controller button, waits 100 milliseconds, and then releases it, giving the monitor the cue to select. So it selects whatever source you've had selected within the 5 seconds. And then you've changed the source on the monitor or TV, because this would also work on this here TV if I unplug this board from the computer and plug in the TV. I also have one that is for just PC media. So I can demonstrate this with, like, I think I have something from the YouTube audio library. So I'm going to press download. Oh, it's going to download a file. So what you got to do first, so go up to the settings, click pair, and say CPlay Express, and then press download. It may prompt me again. Yeah, I'm just going to do that again. So you click OK, pair, and then pair it again. See the lights are green because in bootloader mode. And then once the download changes back to a download button, I think it did it. So press download. Is it installed? So it's to the left. Well, if it's not gonna do it that way, I guess I'll just have to drag this file. So you just have to copy the file, and then see the volume. See down there, the volume's going up and down. Now I need some music that won't get me a content match. YouTube.com/playlist question, whatever, like it. I'm looking for my like videos, because I think I have a couple of audio library songs in there. Or I could go to NCS. YouTube.com/copyright. No copyright sounds. Pause it so it doesn't start immediately. Let me just see what I can find on the NCS channel. You go to popular. Just looking for something that I can play that won't get me a copyright match. Because those YouTube bots hate me sometimes. What's this one? Is my sound card having an issue? I think I need to reboot the computer. Well, I have the iPad. Because it's a keyboard. It's a keyboard. You haven't got to use it with a computer. I haven't got to use it with a computer. I just need this adapter to make the cable work and then get on bootloader mode. So you can see if I pull it to the right, see it's adjusting the volume on the iPad. And then if I go to no copyright sounds. Let me open this laptop and get it to reboot while I do this. This laptop sometimes has issues with its sound system. So I have to reboot it. And actually, maybe not. I'm gonna reboot it into Ubuntu to show you that this works with Linux. Because I think they said it works. They said it works with Linux. I may have to move the tripod so you can see because I haven't tried plugging the TV into it with Ubuntu running. Okay, so if we go to NCS, popular. What's one? Not really. Oh. What's that mean? What's that mean? What's this one? Not really. Okay, so this one, Death Trap Invincible. So you see this, if I flick this onto the right, turns down the volume. And if I flick it to the left, press the left button, it stops. Press it again, it starts. Oh, I forgot to tell it, I wanted the other OS. We'll continue using Windows. And if I press the right button, that's mute and unmute. So, I figured out that you can't program the board with... Oh, stop it. I figured out that you couldn't program the board with the iPad. I guess it just doesn't know how to talk to the board, even though it presents itself as a flash drive. So yeah, unplug that. Let me put in the pin code again. Apps. To remove this computer as startup as just put the iPad back to sleep. And plug the computer into the monitor. Make sure people on distant cord haven't been bothering me. No. Nobody's been bothering me on Discord. Nobody's been bothering me on Discord. Put his keyboard back in so I don't have to have the laptop screen up. And go back to the MakeCode. Let me go get the newer alarm. Let me go get some of the newer scripts from the MacBook. Okay, so I have a USB loaded with the newer scripts, with the newer script files. So I'm gonna start off by just clearing out the project list here. I'm just going to start off by clearing the projects. So we just pull in the alarm, the light, the alarm, the lights, the monitor and TV, PC media, and the sound logger. So let me show you these projects. So I've already shown the light stuff. So if the switch is to the right, then the rainbow happens. And also will show if you hold down. So if switch is right, then continuously show frames of the rainbow animation. Or else if button A is pressed, so if you're holding down button A, then continuously show frames of the rainbow animation. On the switch moved left, clear. So if you toggle the switch from, actually, I don't think I need to. Let me eject this USB and then. Bruh, am I gonna have to respring the stupid Explorer? Bruh, am I gonna have to respring the Explorer? No? It's fine. Eject. And then plug this in and press the reset button, and then click download. Why is it not working? Pair device. Paired. Click down. Okay, something's off with it. I may have to... So let me just go to... What? This PC. Put it in bootloader mode. Go to C play boot. And save it. It shows up as failed. Chrome shows it as failed. But you see, it's working. It's just Chrome doesn't expect the file to be pulled. Chrome doesn't expect the file to be pulled away from it as soon as it's done downloading. So it's like, huh? Where's what? It failed. But no, it didn't. It's working. So you hold down that button. You see rainbow. Hold down that button. So it says on button. So I already told you about the first set of functions, the ones under the green forever block. So on switch moved left, clear. So if this is showing, you wouldn't want the lights to stay on after you move the switch in the other direction. So that statement on switch moved left clear clears the lights. And then if you press and hold button A, it says if on button A up, so when it's released, clear. So if you're holding it down, you release it, the lights turn off. Then over here, on button B, down. So when you start holding it, the lights turn white. And then on button B, up, clear. It turns off. So that's I called it light stuff. And then sound logger. This one, so let me just go to download. And then press the reset button to get in bootloader mode. And drop it under C play boot. You see that red light flashing? And then again, Chrome gonna think it's failed, but it didn't. So it's on button A clicked for index from 0 to 5, so it's the timer thing I showed in one of my other script, in the one with for the monitor. And then clear, so the lights turn off. And then it says, so I added the storage extension because the keyboard and the gamepad and the storage here, those are under this extensions menu. So gamepad, keyboard, mouse. So I added the storage option. So it says append file log.txt. So it says append file log.txt with line and then join bits of text, so basically concatenate record space, then the variable records to show what record number this is, a colon, and then probably and sound level, and then sound level. So basically the intensity of sound that the microphone on this board is hearing, and then change records by 1. So basically increment the records variable. And then on buttons A and B clicked, remove the file log.txt, and then set all pixels to red to tell you that it was done. Wait for half a second, and then turn the lights off. So if you press the button, excuse me, and basically I blow onto it. Now if I go to files, down here, wait, what? Okay. Let me try this. Let me plug the battery holder into it. Turn on the battery holder. So it turns red as it tries to enter bootloader mode, but notice there's no computer, so it continues on. So I press A. Blue onto it. And you plug it in. And you plug it in. And there should be, there's a drive called there's a drive called MakeCode. There's a drive called MakeCode, and then a file called SBI Flash, like kilobyte, record 0, and 0. If you go back, you press both buttons, you see the lights turn red. It's still there. It's still there. It's still there. So I'm going to unplug it, then press those buttons. Plug it back in. Alright. Still there. So I haven't figured out how to get that to work, but that's it basically logs the sound levels that it hears to a file. And then this final one called alarm. Notice I can have it both on the battery pack that this thing contains AAA batteries. I have it on the battery pack and connect to a computer at once. It doesn't mess up anything. And then go to pair device. Yes. So press download. Okay. So I'll unplug it from the computer. So this is an alarm, as the name of the program suggests. So on start, set active to 0 and silent to 0, and volume to 255. So now, on switch moved right, it starts a 5-second timer. It starts at 5. Alright. Okay. So it's a 5-second timer. Turns red. So now it's armed and will react if it hears a loud noise or it says on 2G step, which means basically if this thing is shocked, then it will happen. It says call trigger, and there's a function called trigger. So right now it is active, meaning right. See, it went off because I blew on it, creating a loud noise. I blew on it, causing the microphone to detect loud noise, which triggers it and cause it to play that sound. But what if you don't want it to sound? So I just activated it again. Let me show you that it works based on a tap. I may have to add a thing to it where you can enable or disable either sensor independently. Because one thing about this, so right now it's off. If you press both buttons, you see that it turns yellow. That's a silent mode. When you press both again, it turns blue. So if you press it, it turns yellow, and then turn it on. You see it's not making a sound. Turn it off, make it sound again. So let's actually do a little bit of code editing here so I can add the functionality of enabling or disabling either sensor. So on start, set active or silent. So I want to add more variables. We have active, alarm, index, and silent. Index is for the 4s. So I want to make a variable. I'm going to call it shock and sound. So now, on start, I'm gonna add two more, and say I want sound set to 1 and shock set to 1, which means that those sensors are active. And then for light, I'm gonna say so I guess pixel color 0. So I guess 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this would be where for statements could be used. So loops for index from 0 to 4. Set pixel color at index to I'll say magenta. Actually, I can't. So basically it lights up that half of the board. Is there no way that I can make... It doesn't seem like I can make a for statement that starts off at a different value. Because I can't simply use the show ring option to do this, since I want both halves of the ring to be independently controlled. So I'll say set pixel color, and I'll add the 4 in there. So I guess at index to red. So I'll say it's magenta instead of red. And then duplicate that and say under math, say at index plus 4. And then say blue. Then say cyan. More like index plus 5. all the lights on the left side would be blue, and all the on the right would be white. Then input on button A, click if duplicate. I do a lot of copy pasting in this. So if alarm, so I want to change alarm to, so I'll say button A controls shock sensitivity, the shock sensor. So if shock is equal to 1, then set shock to 0. And then on 2G step, if, so I just need to nest some ifs. So on 2D step, if shock is equal to 1, and then for the loud sound, if sound is equal to 1. So on button A, click light it's like, how do you turn an individual light off? So I'll just say duplicate for index from, so the left side, so I'll say that it is gray, then else. So I'll say if shock is equal to 0, set it to 1, and make, so say if shock is 1, and set it to 0, and change that to, so I'll say black, because that probably turns them off, and else, and I'll say else, set shock to 1, and the same for statement, but it turns the light magenta. So if you press A, so we'll duplicate that. So we'll duplicate that for button, change that to button B. And just to make sure that this stuff doesn't happen while the alarm is on, I'll add another if. I'll add another if statement so that it says if active is not 1. And I'll just delete, duplicate, and put it over there. I see this workspace is getting pretty cluttered. That's the problem with these block code languages. Code can get a little bit disorganized as you try to add more features. So then I just have to duplicate the index plus 5 bit. and I'll say on and I'll just need to make it, I'll say make a function. So function check sensor. So make a function called check sensors, just so I don't have to keep copy pasta, just so I don't have to keep copy pasta code. Just so I don't have to copy pasta code all the time. So if shock is equal to 1, then duplicate and do that. Else do that. And then another if for if, and that needs to be equals. And if sound equals 1, and at the beginning I'll just call for, I'll call for check sensors. For the sound, it's I gotta. So now I should be able, I'll just I'll turn on the batteries. I'll turn on the battery holder and plug it in and press download. So now I actually just unplugged my batteries because I kind of wanted to unplug it from the computer. What? On button. Those are supposed to say sound. So now, if both sides are on, both sensors are on, that means shock is off and then sound off. So we'll turn off the sound and turn it on. Just to show you that, so, see, doesn't go off. See, it's shock sensitive. Oh. So before turning it on, you gotta make sure that both sides are lit. That one or both sides are lit. Then probably in the silent mode logic, I need to put in calls to check sensors. And re-upload it. So now silent mode works. Yeah, that was adding a new feature to it. So yeah, that's the Circuit Playground Express from Adafruit. A board with tons of sensors for getting started with microcontrollers.